How are you doing? So the mandatory eye contact prior to. So now, dear user, I put on my glasses and now I can look anywhere. That's the whole thing with glasses, right? So if I'm just turned in this direction, I can be scanning the environs to see if there's any pigeons to feed. But you'll think that I'm talking to you. So I'm rolling up a quick cigarette, guys. Like I'd show you if it wasn't this windy, but I've been smoking for years now. Instead of smoking cigarettes, I smoke. Uh, I smoke tobacco, right? And when you say this, I just dropped a cigarette, dear user. Like I've been dropping a lot of stuff recently. It's one of those things, right? There's a lot of wind. So this is my new place. In any case, I got a cigarette to roll. Like I got some tobacco here, right? And it's windy, right? And it's always the same thing. Like the wind starts up, and it's like you really wonder if there's smart wind. People say that there's smart dust in the wind, smart dust. So, my landlord, being a realtor or something like this, I suppose, on the side, he's left my key in a lockbox. So, the objective is to figure out how to open this damn thing. Like, I know the code, and it's like, of course, I don't have any battery. Of course, it's going to rain. Thank God I've got like a 9 foot long cord here that I can uh, utilize, as it were, dear user, in a given situation. So yeah, this phone is crap. The only complaint I have with this phone of mine is, it's slow. That's a given. It gives you time to think, right? It's like basically in Shia Islam, you go to Iran, right, to become an Ayatollah, right, not to become uh, like this guy Zarqawi. They bombed this guy in Jordan, like with ISIS and the Taliban. So that's Sunni. Just so it's clear, right? I talk about Islam, and people automatically assume you're a brown guy, you're a terrorist. Well, I'll terrorize your mind, and I'll certainly push every button that I can get a hold of. And by the way, dear user, if you're still listening, pushing buttons, like this is a philosophy. I could call this pushing buttons, right? So my beautiful wife. So this is an Alcatel, right? It's a nice phone. It's a good company. Like Alcatel, like the thing with brands is this. You don't need marketing, you don't need a sales guy, you don't need advertising. For some reason it's just like famous figures in history. Like you've got people who are on the fence. Like for myself, for example, I'm on the fence about Churchill. Churchill, okay, drank like day and night constantly. Churchill was depressed the whole time. There's many. So every person has a dark side, right? And so every great figure of history has, skeletons in the closet. Now, for what it's worth, right? I do not claim to admire Hitler, right? I'm a brown guy, guys. If you see me throwing up a Sig Heil on one of my videos, it's because someone's driving by in a goddamn Volkswagen, right? So it's like the Fuhrer wants a new car. This literally happened. Like from 1933 to 1936, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis transformed Germany, just like Hugo Chavez did in Venezuela. Like Hitler did more for the Germans and Germany than basically any other leader prior to or since, more or less, in many regards, right? Like autobahns, the highways, the super highways with no speed limit. Then, the Führer wants a new car. And the guy's like, what are we going to call it? And then the other guy's like, fool, it comes with a name, Volkswagen, Sig Heil, right? Sig Heil was to Nietzsche for what it's worth, right? Heil Hitler is Hitler. HH, if you see an HH, like Helly Hansen seems Nazi to this guy, right? And the letters 88. Just because I know about Nazis doesn't mean I'm a Nazi. In fact, it's the opposite. The reason I study these guys might be because Donald Trump was elected power, guys. Literally, that's what happened, right? So 2015, I remember like in November, something like this, like when this guy comes into power 2016. And I remember tweeting, um, it's like 9/11. It literally felt like 9/11. Like nobody thought that this guy's going to win. Like there's no chance. This guy, like he's swearing. I remember like years ago, like he wanted to like be considered a candidate for the Republican nomination. So my wife is fighting with me, sweetie. Like, I'm sorry about all of this. Like, my poor wife, guys. She left me this message. Oh, you. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like this like this. She's from Bucaramanga, right? So it's like this. Oh God, I can't even listen to it, and oh God, I can't even turn it off. Guys, like, she was really bent out of shape. She's told me in the past that whenever she gives me something, like, and she's given me the nicest things, leather jacket and this kind of stuff. So she had a guitar. She was given a guitar, or she bought this nice Yamaha acoustic guitar. Okay, she bought this thing like 20 years ago, or that's the usual story with my wife. She bought a goddamn what is this thing, like a giant bike, guys. So now this would potentially be my patio, and that the dude in the tree over there, that would potentially be my neighbor. It reminds me of Calgary, eh? We move into our place, me and Judith, and it's like there's like heads bouncing up and down. Doo doo doo. It's my neighbor, Shane Gerzon, eh? Shane Gerzon, right? So I'm proud to say, as a Muslim, I'm married to a Christian, and two of my best friends are Jews. Oleg Ginsburg, Yevrei, which is Jew and Russian, guys. And then, of course, Shane Gerzon, my neighbor in Calgary. So he's got a trampoline in his backyard. And it's like, it's amazing. It's like, it's just like, yo, he's American. He had, listen, Shane, I'm sorry if you watch this, bro, and I'm out speaking out of line. You know what I'm like, right? I don't want to speak your business. And it's a beautiful story, though. Like, it's something you overcame, my friend. So Shane Gerzon used to have a gambling problem, and he's told me about this thing. And it's like, I've never had a gambling problem, thank God. But he's in this hole, and he's in debt, and his brain is saying it's just like drugs, right? Like, one last shot, yo. And he goes there to this place. I'm checking to see if this is recording. Okay, 7 minutes. This is my intro still, guys. So Shane goes to this casino, and it's just this classic scene. Like, he's going up the escalator, and his beautiful wife is coming down. Like, they're married now, they got kids. Yo, one of his kids is called Levi. Levi is like, I'm now that I'm reading the Bible, guys, it's like a tribe of Israel. And it's like, yo, there is a lot of significance to a lot of this stuff, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. I urge you, dear reader or viewer, I urge you, user, I'm gonna call my landlord, guys. Let's see what he says. I urge you to. I'm gonna ask him about this code. It's like this. The lock is so good that it's. Oh God, what happened? Everything is going wrong, guys. Like, the phone is turned off again. It's like the vibes, eh, guys? It's just one of those days. It's one of those days. الدهر يومين, guys. This is it. There's my cigarette. It all started with this. So I wanted to show you, because that's what I do, like show and tell. Like, I picked up the cigarette from a guy who moved me. This guy, I want to write a script for this guy. There was a movie on Netflix and YouTube, I believe, way back when. You could probably find it, dear user. The thing is called The Pusher. There was The Pusher 1, 2, and 3. And it was, guys, I'm going to tell you, if you're in Toronto and you're interested in listening to this, please get in touch with me, because I'm that guy, right? I can make a movie. All I need is to take care of the sound. Like, this Chromebook, this can do the thing, right? It's like these two kids. They made a movie. One of them just followed the other. That might be my landlord. He's actually a great guy. He actually is a responsive guy. Yes, it's him. Yes, hi there. How are you, sir? Yeah, yeah. My phone, like, it's literally, I'm on your patio. I hope that's okay. I'm plugged in back there, and I literally have like 1%. Sir, I keyed in the combination 8890, and it's just the lock is like made of kryptonite or something. I just can't get it open. The lock, like so I put so when I put that in, then is there a button? Because I put that in, I couldn't open the lock. Does it the top just open, or so 8890, and then I just give it a good pull? Okay, because I try. Okay, Okay, I'm going to go check it out again. I wanted to make sure I had the I wanted to make sure I had the right number because 8890. Okay, so I'm here. I got all my stuff, and so thank you for letting me know and calling me back, sir. Thank you, sir. So yeah, that was my landlord. Great, right? So this is the thing working out, right? I mean, today it's been a good day, but it's been one of those days. But I was ready for it, like all kinds of weirdness. Like it's raining and it didn't rain. I was meant to pick up my key yesterday, but the landlord forgot. I had a mover yesterday. The guy just disappeared into like the nether regions of space and time, these kinds of things. And then the last landlord, we were at that point where, like, it's just weird stuff. Like, I needed to leave. I told him yesterday, I promised yesterday. I wasn't able to leave yesterday. So we're going to go around to the front and see if the lockbox is here. So this is Markham, technically, guys. There's a nice little night table I picked up from my last place. Like, if you live in a nice building, then people throw out really nice stuff. Like, people throw out stuff like this. If you work in the, I didn't like. I bought this bike for $200, and then I paid this in between guy $20, right? So $220. I got a lock. I paid $50 for that thing, and I believe it or not, I lost it already. That's how weird this whole thing has been. Like, series of events. So this thing still seems to be recording. Guys, the Pusher 1, the Pusher 2, the Pusher 3. Mads Mikkelsen, he's like the premier Danish actor. This guy was the James Bond in Casino Royale. He's done a lot of movies. If you actually go to IMDb, Internet Movie Database, and you Google, you look up Casino Royale, then this is the new digs, guys. So if you Google Casino Royale, then you'll see that, of course, Tom, who's in it? Daniel Craig, sorry. And then the guy is crying tears of blood. So he said that the lock, I shouldn't be showing this to you, but he said it's 8890 and it's not opening, right? It's like, what is this crap, right? It's like, why? Right? So, like, this is the kind of day I'm having. And I'm in that mode right now with my new landlord, and it's like, yo, I got to make a good impression with this guy, but I've really lost my patience because I was meant to move in here yesterday. The key was meant to be here yesterday, and he kept me hanging. And I was like rushing around. I'm really at the edge of my gourd here. So I got to get this thing open, get all my stuff inside, guys, and then this is the new digs. And so thank you for watching. I wanted to talk about other stuff. I forget what I wanted to talk about as usual, right? Ha 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 ha. So if something to do with sales, you got to leave me a comment, right? And you got to tell me what you want to hear. So if you leave me a comment and tell me what you want to hear, then I'll talk about that. And I might ramble, but your job would be then to put the brakes on that thing and to get me. Your job would be to reel me in. And I've found out and realized now that the artist is informed by the audience and vice versa, right? So what happens is a normal person becomes an artist, and that normal person's friends and family become haters along the way, and they're like, oh, this guy's fake and he's acting all weird because he's got all these people and stuff like this. But from the artist's perspective, I'm just worried about my people. And it's like Christ said, peace be upon him. He said that your people, like whoever, my real family, they said, well, your mom and your brothers are outside, right? He was healing someone or something like this. And then he said, well, anyone who listens to me is my brother, right? These are my brothers right here, like these people listening to me. So that's what I say to you guys. Like, my blood family is my blood family. Like, in Islam, that's sacrosanct. And I've told you about this. Like, one of our holy imams, peace be upon them all, from the family of Muhammad, he was writing his will, right? And The scribe was writing like the scribe, like that would be me. Like you go to Scribd, scribe with a D, delta instead of E echo, scribd.com, or you get the app. Instead of paying $40 to Audible for an audiobook, and it's certainly worth that money, but why not get unlimited audiobooks? And then, you pay like $13, $12. It started the same as Netflix. It started at $8, $9, and now you pay like 12, $13. You get unlimited audiobooks. I've got like hundreds, literally like 300 plus on my list. It's like heaven. You're browsing audiobooks, you start listening to audiobooks. It's like, unfortunately, guys, I gotta say, I'm talking to people who don't even get pleasure sometimes, it seems to me, out of going to Amazon.com and looking inside a book, right? And realizing that the contents and the first paragraph and the title and the intro, right, say everything. Like if you actually scan the first few pages of any book, you'd come away with 80% of what this guy's trying to say for nonfiction books, right? You can become an expert in things. With audiobooks, I sound like a freaking mafiosi guy. With audiobooks, I can tell you like 5 to 7 definitive times that Hitler could have won World War II. Hands down. Dunkirk, with all respect to Christopher Nolan, great movie, I'm sure visually. I mean, sure, like Pearl Harbor, just like Pearl Harbor, right? But Dunkirk, the military saga, was a debacle. Debacle. Hitler could have crushed them like bugs. I was talking about Churchill. Hitler never wanted to fight the English. He correctly stated that Germans, like, and the English were the same people. Like, it was Saxons, Germans, and French people who went up to the UK and populated it for the most part. And then you had, Vikings from Denmark and Norway. Then you had the Welsh people who more or less stayed in Wales, and then the Picts, which were the Scottish people up there, like in the north, the Highlanders, and north of them. Even the Romans couldn't handle these guys. Hadrian's Wall, they built, like Emperor Hadrian, they built this wall, I guess, all the way across the UK, it would seem. But there was a lot going on there, and Hitler was right. He said that Germans, like Aryans, whatever they, like their conception of this master race, it was mixed up with like the English, like we're the same. Nobody knows, I don't certainly, where Aryans are meant to come from, but certainly English and German people back then, I mean, that was one way of looking at it. There's no reason for us to be fighting because we're the same people. And so Dunkirk, he basically it's almost like he got bored. He outflanked them, outmaneuvered them like the pincer of all pincers through the Ardennes forest in Belgium. In Belgium, yeah. So the Belgians, the French, who had the largest army in the world, million plus people, outflanked by these Nazis and their Maginot Line. They had all these fortifications, didn't count for crap. And Hitler, everyone says that he's like this crap head and he's an idiot. He wasn't. It's just like Trump. You got to study Hitler so you can understand Trump, and you got to watch Trump because he doesn't lose and he doesn't make mistakes as such. Okay, he doesn't, like what he does. He's got a strategy and he's doing things and he's coming back, and there's trouble brewing. Like for Canucks, there's millions of Nazis down there, like in the States. They got guns, right? Like my sister lives in Zurich in Switzerland, guys, and they just gave their citizens a handgun. Swiss people now have, it would seem, a handgun, right? Courtesy of their government, right? And it's like, I mean, the reason is it's like there's a movie on Netflix talking about this mysterious invader, and it's a foreigner, and there's like invasion fears, like the Scandinavian countries. They're very advanced. My sister hasn't told me about these handguns, but I'm given to understand that Switzerland has armed its citizens. Canada is in a lot of trouble if people like me are correct. Yankees, okay, are mad that Canadians burnt down their White House twice. Canucks. And at least one of these times in 1892 or something. These people were not part of a country. It wasn't confederated. Canada wasn't a country. Like the French and the English hadn't decided on Canada, and it was still up in the air. And for some reason, some Canucks got so fired up that they rolled down to D.C. They blew this thing up. Like they said, more or less, they burnt it down. Like someone was saying to me, almost like trying to placate me, like some Canadian, a Canuck. He's like, well, listen, and he's like a law enforcement professional, and he's like, well, there was only fire damage one time. I mean, whatever you say, it's too late. You realize, like, galloping down there through New Hampshire, through Maine, through Vermont, New England. Are you joking? Like Boston, all this stuff, Connecticut, New York, Philly, New Jersey, Maryland. It's a long, long way. So you go down there and you're like, oh wow, there's lights in the distance. And these guys are like galloping, like it's crazy. It's like there's a house, it's a white house, and it's like there's a guy that lives in this house. And it's like you Canucks, like what the Canuck do you think is going on around here? Canada is in a very precarious situation. Okay, so if Trump comes back into power, Trump is the guy who brought this thing up. I had no idea about it. I don't think most Canadians have thought or know about this thing. It's just one of many things. Aren't you the guys that burnt down the White House in 1842? Like, this is Trump asking Trudeau. And people are like, yo, there was no country back then. And I'm like, but I'm from Pakistan. This is not better. This is worse. This is a terrorist act. There was fire damage. Like, so we tried to burn it down and it didn't burn down. What the fuck? I'm sorry, but if it was a police officer, you get charged with like attempted murder of the president of a foreign country, right? So this is not the way. Like, this is called terrorism, and it's called there's millions of Nazis. It's about 60 million people who voted for Donald Trump. They got like, they have AK-47s. They got rocket propelled grenades. They got missile like shoulder hosted like missile launchers and crap. Like there's people like renegades patrolling the borders with assault rifles. There's like militants in the forests of Oregon, right? So now all these people, they don't give a hoot about anything except the states. Canada, like, is just an afterthought. Like, you got to ask yourself as a Canadian, what has Canada done for the states? Now, 80% to 90% of the Canadian economy is dependent on the states. It's not the other way around, like we sometimes forget up here. So I'm the guy who basically is a cautionary note. Like, Putin is communists, okay, if that's not clear. And the states is Nazis, just like Germany is Nazis. You'd be like, oh no, they're Democrats. You're an idiot. 80 million people hero worshipped Adolf Hitler, all of them. Let's just put aside the fact that Heinrich Himmler was the man who was like the devil in that thing, right? As far as I'm concerned, just like Dick Cheney was the devil and George Bush was just a symbol. Trump is a symbol. He's not a devil. This is what I think. Hitler was like Hitler. Well, who the hell am I to say? Like, people still argue about whether he or not he wrote Mein Kampf, right? I'm in touch with David Irving. He's the foremost Nazi historian. He's the only guy who did all of his research with first sources. He went to Germany. He learned Germany. He lived there during the 50s. I don't know why this has devolved into a talk about Hitler and the Third Reich. Guys, I want to talk about sales as usual. I mean, if you want to blog or start a YouTube channel, then you need to have a theme or several themes. Now, my problem is SMS, right? Sales, marketing, and spirituality. And then on the side, you got serial killers. Yeah, I mean, I became an expert on these guys because of goddamn Scribd. Scribe with a D, scribd.com. Unlimited audiobooks for $12.99. I sound like a mafiosi sometimes. People have asked me, am I a freaking wop? I'm like, yo, forget about this thing. Italianos, it's just like pedophiles, and that's your church, and fascists, Mussolini or Berlusconi. Yo, Calabria or Naples or Sicily. Those are the places. You've got Drangheta, you've got the Gomorrah in Naples, and those guys are such that they make the mafiosi in Sicily, the Sicilianos, they make them seem like what they are: nice, polite, professional businessmen. You don't mess with them, they won't mess with you. Okay? They run Canada as far as I'm concerned. If you're watching this and it bothers you, that's too bad. Like, there's the seventh family, it's in Montreal. There's a book called The Sixth Family about the Rizzutos, Vito Sr. and Vito Jr. Like, they own Venezuela or Argentina, this kind of thing. They work hand in hand with the Gomorrah. They do a lot of heroin, or they did back in the day. It's not for me to say. Like, this is common knowledge. The reason I can sit here and blab about this thing is because I'm just a guy who's read this book, The Sixth Family, or I listened to the audiobook. It's on scribd.com. Sixth Family is actually the Sopranos, the D Cavalcantis, in Jersey. When HBO was setting up shop to film this thing, these guys were literally down the road. Like there's audiobooks about it done by professional voice actors, written by guys like Nick Pileggi, who wrote Wise Guys. Like they were celebrating its 25th anniversary. This guy wrote Casino, right? There's a lot of great stuff in there. So I urge you to get into audiobooks, guys. I urge you to start your day with a routine. I urge you to write things down. I urge you to get interested in books in general, in reading. If you can read, they say readers are leaders. And if you write, this thing is gangster. I'm telling you, like this saying, there's a saying of Muhammad's, peace be upon him, and his family. First of all, read. Iqra, the word Iqra, read, was the first word revealed by the angel Gabriel, peace be upon him, to the Holy Prophet. Okay, according to our beliefs. The Quran, every chapter starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most mercy giving. Allah just means God with a capital G. Christian Arabs use this word. Okay, Al Masih ibn Allah means Messiah, son of Allah. And Masih ibn Allah is how Jesus is called in the Quran, peace be upon him. It's what he's called, like the Ruhullah, the Spirit of God, and Al Masih ibn Allah, he's called the Messiah. So, like when I tell people I believe in Christian, like I believe in Christ, it's like, oh no, you're going to hell. Well, spare me your Christianity then. My wife is good enough. She's an amazing Christian. She's pissed at me right now. I'm sorry, sweetie, about your guitar. But yo, my client slash mentor slash best friend, Steve Scott, he's enough of a Christian for everyone else that I know in the world. Like this guy's the real deal. He never says nothing about Christianity. He mentions that, yo, I'm born again. I want to become a pastor. I'm living with God. You got to live with God. He'll just drop that in there. In Canada, you don't shoot people. Someone says to me, "You're shooting me to death." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm shooting you to death? I don't have a gun. I don't like guns. I shot a gun like at a range one time in Orlando with my buddy Jerome. That's about it." The guy's like, "No, you're shooting me." In Canada, you don't say should. Like, can you believe it, guys? Like Canucks, even like some Canucks have forgotten this thing. Canada means can. You can. Like I'm sitting here rambling. I'm about to smoke a cigarette. Hopefully there's no children around. That's the only thing that bothers me in this world. Children. Like I'm not worried about nothing except the children. And I know that if I live my life according to the principle, what about children? I'll be just fine. Like and act like an idiot, right? I'm locked out of this place. I need to pray. I need to wash. I need to eat. I need to settle down. I need to sleep. I'm basically in my fifth wind. But in Canada, I know that I can act the any way I like, as long as it's, I used to say reasonable, legal, moral, and such and such, but it doesn't need to be reasonable as long as it's legal, and as long as it's moral, and as long as, and the moral part is as long as it's, let's put it this way, in Canada, as long as it's legal and as long as you're not bothering anyone, you can do whatever you want. And my third thing is, what about the children? Right, so you're partying this hard. I went to like the gay parade the other day, and I'm sorry, I loved it. Like as a grown adult, and like, all these amazing people and free hugs and kisses and like the hottest girls in the world, and like you're losing your mind. And I'm missing my wife. Right? I'm not interested in dating any girl. My wife is enough for me, and I'm not interested. Like you can't replace 18 years of sacrifice and love and devotion with like big hooters or something. It's like I tell these girls, like you look like my niece. Like basically, get away from me. I can't be near anyone like you. I tell these girls, you're not going to attract a big a mate with big hooters by flashing your hooters, by flashing like your skin, like your parents or yourself. You think it's appropriate and the way is to dress like Britney Spears. Well, I don't know about this. However, have you read the lyrics to the girl's song? You want a bikini, like rather you want to look good in a bikini. You want a mansion in France. You want a party in France. You want a Bugatti. This is what she says: work your goddamn face off. Right? And she's got amazing songs, right? Like this song, "Oops, I Did It Again." It's amazing. It's like, yo, like it's from a girl's perspective. She's saying to guys in general, "Well, I'm just being myself, or whatever. I'm flirting, maybe," and you think I'm from above. I'm an angel, and you're so head over heels, and it's like, "Oops, I've just crushed this guy's mind and dreams again." And it's like I'm that guy too. It's like as soon as I was telling the mover, as soon as I open my mouth, people are like, "What? What's going on here?" And it's like, "Who is this guy?" And it's like online, offline, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like I read books, and I try not to waste my time. Anyway, I'm wasting a lot of your time if you're still watching this. I tell these girls that they should read the Twilight series by Stephanie Miller. Okay, I have not read the Twilight series, nor seen the series, nor am I interested in it. I'm interested in making movies. I picked up this book, like someone I dated, like her daughter, so my stepdaughter at the time. So, because when I date as a Shia, I enact a temporary marriage. So, like this girl's daughter, like we are having trouble because this daughter is like 16 and she's walking around in shorts and she's barefoot and there's this weirdness. And she was Italiana. She needed to get this thing out the way. My girlfriend Daniela, she's like, she brings it up. Like, I mean, like I had no interest in like sleeping with her daughter, and it's like we had to like scold her, like like she was like flirting or something like this. I don't know what happened. It was very weird, and I'm not good at reading these things. All I'm trying to say is Pam, like the daughter, she had this book. Like it was the backstory. It was like how they made the movie or the backstory to the movie of the Twilight series. And Stephanie Miller, who wrote these books, claims that she wrote these books in order to teach girls that there's no such thing as one love. Like that guy in the knight in shining armor. Right? So I suppose she was so hurt in love that she wrote this whole series. She wrote one book, and then, one thing spans another. This is how it is in the world of art, guys, and in the world of sales and marketing. You're putting out products, you're making calls, you're putting out messages, you're looking for a response. This is what it's like in the world of human affairs, right? We have thoughts and ideas. And the reason I talk to you guys on camera here and the reason I write is because you need to express yourself, guys. It doesn't even matter like what it is that you're saying. Like, you need to keep at this thing and it will formulate and you'll find your audience. In any case, God bless you. Thank you for watching. Call your mom, do nice things, stop being silly. Like, it's like life is not easy, but it is simple. So figure that one out and see you next time. Please like or comment. I'm not worried about subscriptions, but if you let me know you're out there, I would appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you watching this.